Buckle up. It's MK Bizzle in the Hizzle. We have episode 14 of Travel Disasters coming at you hot. Couple of updates before we get started. I have a show coming up Saturday, September 14th at 9 p.m. at the Nighthawk in Chicago called End of the Line Comedy, as well as Sunday, September 15th at 7 p.m. at the Wild Comedy Club in Evanston. So we just have a fun comedy weekend for you. I hope to see you there. You can find all of my upcoming shows on my website, mkbcomedy.com, as well as links to this podcast. But you're already listening right now, so you've already figured out how to listen to it. If you haven't done it yet, follow us on every form of social media. We are Travel Disasters on every platform. If I break 1,000 followers on Instagram, I will donate $100 to the Peace Corps. That's a reference from the last episode. But seriously, tell everyone to follow this podcast. The more listeners, the better. The best way to help people find this podcast is throw me a 5-star rating. Leave me a written review on Apple Podcasts so my podcast will show up next to Joe Rogan, My Favorite Murder, all the badass podcasts out there. So show me some love. I want to read your review on the air. Also, please, please, please send me a travel disaster of your own. It can be anything. Pictures of someone not wearing shoes on an airplane, someone talking on the phone on the subway, a time you fell asleep in the airport and the plane left without you. I want to hear it. I want to read it on the air. Send those to traveldisasterspodacast@gmail.com. I can't wait to read them. Again, tell everyone you know about this podcast. You know when you're at Trader Joe's and the cashiers like ask you how you're doing, but they really mean like how you're doing? Tell them you're doing great because you discovered this podcast. That will give you two something to talk about while they're bagging up your little chickpeas. It'll be adorable. Now, on to the good stuff. This episode is a special treat. It's a live recording of this podcast that we did a few weeks ago at the G-Man Tavern, so thank you so much for having us. We co-hosted with Mike O'Keefe's podcast, Buddy of the Groom. That episode just dropped last week, so stop what you're doing, listen to that, but actually, no, stick around for this episode. It's one of my favorite stand-up comedians, fellow podcasters, and wrestling enthusiasts. Marty DeRosa is on the show today. It's hilarious. We had so much fun recording it, and you're going to have equally as much fun listening to it. So here we go. It's you and me, baby. We're going on the trip from hell, where every flight is missed. They lose your luggage, and you're in the middle seat between a sumo wrestler and a screaming baby. Don't worry, I'm coming along for the ride. I'm Mary Kate Beck, and this is Travel Disasters.
Give it up for Mary Kate Beck, everybody!
G-Man Tavern, how are we doing tonight? Thank you so much for coming out. Sundays are hard, so I definitely appreciate you guys making the trek. Without further ado, I want to welcome my guest for tonight's show. Get real loud for Marty DeRosa. Marty DeRosa, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Pleasure to be here.
So exciting.
I hate traveling. As you were doing your thing, I thought about how one time I was on a flight and we were sort of near the bathrooms and somebody was smoking on the bathroom, in the bathroom. And,
on a flight?
Yeah, on a flight.
Oh my God, that's ballsy.
My friends and I, we were drinking a lot and we were being, we were being a little rowdy. So they came up to us right away and they're like, which one of you guys smoked? And none of us had smoked in there, but I remember saying, I'm like, if you give me another free dinner, I will tell you who smoked. And because I saw the guy come out, and they go, well, how will I know? And I go, smell his hands. And,
oh my God.
Which I thought was a weird thing to say. And I got another a shitty little sandwich for telling on somebody.
That's nice.
Yeah. And then I was like, fellas, this can't get no better. And then somebody shit so bad in the bathroom that I was like, yeah, it can get worse than this.
Oh my God, that's amazing. I've never smoked on an airplane. Have you ever had sex on an airplane?
No, not. But I did the one thing, I think back in the day, one of my friends, we were in high school, or I think in college or whatever, my one friend was like, "I'll bet you had to go beat off in the bathroom."
Oh my God.
But I don't think I did.
Who would want to do it alone? Like, there's no point in just beating off.
I mean,
that's dumb.
You can never put anything past a young man from Indiana on an airplane. They'll try a whole bunch of stuff.
Oh my God, that's right. You're from Indiana. You're from the same place where my sister just willingly moved.
Yeah.
That's insane.
It's weird that people move there. Like normally it's like you leave there. But yeah, that's weird that somebody's like, I'm going to move here.
Yeah. I'm like, are the property taxes that good? Like, Indiana blows. Sorry.
I like when rich people are like, oh, you know how much money I could save on my property taxes there? And I'm like, I don't, actually. Yeah. I don't know what property taxes are. I don't know how much you would save, but I'm just going to nod my head and be like, yeah, I know what you mean, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rent, I mean, a 1-bedroom there. Could you imagine what I could get a 1-bedroom in Indiana for what I'm paying here?
Oh my God. Well, Marty DeRosa, tell us about yourself. Like, why are you up here today? Well, I know you.
I have no idea.
Yeah, you're like, I just met you.
I
just
honestly
now.
don't know at all.
I like pulled him off the street.
I do stand-up comedy and I do pro wrestling stuff, so I have to travel a lot. Usually, when you have comics on, probably they say the same thing. It's like work. It's not fun. Like I see you go on like fun vacations and stuff. People go on fun vacations. I'm just like, I don't know. What gives you the right to do that? What gives you the right to be so happy? And
how dare you?
Like every picture you're on like a boat. And I'm like, fuck off. What do you know? Boat people, get the fuck out of here. I mean, usually going to a comedy show or like a wrestling convention, which is, if you've never been on a flight with a bunch of wrestling fans heading to WrestleMania, you haven't lived till you've seen a grown man with a championship title over his shoulder at the O'Hare Airport. It's fantastic. But there's when you go to especially WrestleMania weekend, everybody's traveling there. And everybody's got shirts on, and everybody's got belts over their shoulders.
Oh my God.
And then you're sitting in your seat, and you see oh shit, that's Raven who just walked by.
What is that? Is that a wrestler?
Yeah, that's a wrestler. That's a wrestler. That's a wrestler.
Just name dropping over here.
I'm fucking name dropping Raven. I don't know, yeah.
All of this is over my head.
So my comedy wrestling partner's name is Colt Cabana. He's the guy on all the billboards here that do that. Yeah, these nerds fucking get it. You're like, is he ever on a boat by Navy Pier? No, he's not. So he is flown 8 million miles. So he walks in the airport, and he runs
the place.
When he goes to the airport, and I think he knows they're going to do this. Like at first, you should have him on. He'd be much better.
Okay, give me his number.
First, they're just like, who's this piece of shit he has like a giant bag. Like he has like a hockey bag full of his merchandise, and he'll put it on the counter, and they'll just be like, no, you can't bring that on the flight. And then they scan his thing, and they're like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, because he's got
Actually, you can put it up with the pilot.
And then he's fine. And he's got another bag that size, and they're like, fine. And then I put his bag on there, and then we go into the lounge. There's like the
ooh, you have like lounge passes?
I don't. He does. I'm his +1, and then I go in the lounge. I'm surprised you aren't there with all these fancy people.
Oh my God, I don't know who you think I am. I'm not.
And you can get all the free food and stuff like that. So you just put everything in your pockets and stuff. And then you go on the plane. And then he always gets me bumped up to first class, which is very fancy.
Those like leather lazy boys,
hot towels on your face, and all that stuff. But in the wrestling world, if you are younger and then you have like a first class ticket, if let's say I'm brand new and you and I are in first class, and then I see like a big fancy wrestler like Mike O'Keefe, and I go, oh shit, I would have to give my seat up to Mike O'Keefe. I would go, Mike, let me have your ticket. You please sit up here. So one of the first times we're traveling, we're going to like WrestleMania 26 in Atlanta, and I'm sitting up front, and we get first on, and we're just like, wow, this is great. And then this wrestler, not to name drop, Tommy Dreamer, walks by. Rival of Raven. This is all coming together. The innovator of violence. So the innovator of violence, the former ECW World Heavyweight Champion, starts walking by, and I go to Colt. I go, do I gotta leave and let him have my seat? And he was
that's like such a bold
He goes,
move,
don't be ridiculous.
Yeah.
So that was nice.
So is that it? That's all we got.
Well, what do you mean?
No, I don't know. Thank you so much. No, so I know you through stand-up comedy.
Yes.
And you're also a podcaster of your own.
Yes.
You're very used to podcasting. So I'm so excited. Do you want to plug it? What is it?
It's called Marty and Sarah Love Wrestling. And yeah.
Subscribe.
Yeah.
I haven't listened to it, but I'm sure it's
no
great.
Shit. You didn't know who Raven was.
So many wrestling fans in here tonight. I'm so happy. But so I always like to ask people, like, on a scale of like agoraphobe, meaning like never leave the house, to like,
I know what agoraphobe means.
Okay. Oh my.
Yeah, I know. No, go ahead.
You're like, I have a bachelor's degree.
I don't leave the house.
To like
you on Instagram. I am somewhere
to my level, bitch.
No, I don't like to travel. I like the concept of it, but then when I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Usually it's when I'm very drunk. I'm like, let's do it. And then when the time comes, I'm like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's fine, I guess.
What's like the coolest place you've ever traveled to, or the farthest, and or?
I mean, I went to Europe right after I graduated high school, and I was just kind of whatever. I was like
ripe Marty in his 18s.
Just ready to. Well, I was 19. I got held back a year, but it was fine. It was just like, I don't know. There's some stuff where I'm just like, this is fine, but I don't like. Wait, I did a cruise. I did
what?
Yeah, I did comedy on a Chris Jericho's Wrestling Rager cruise. Guys, I'm not trying to. I'm not trying to be the guy who drops all these names on your asses.
Just bragging over here.
But it was a cruise, and I'd never been on a cruise, and like right away I was like, I fucking hate this. I hate this cruise. It's terrible. But it was fun being on the cruise and stuff.
I don't think I could ever cruise. I think that's where I draw the line.
I need like my comfort things. Like I need to be able to get coffee, and to be left alone if I need to. I like to walk a lot, so if I can't walk, but I mean, there's some places I go to where I'm just like, sometimes I'll do this where I go to a place like, and I'll walk around and I'll think, if I had to live here, could I live here?
Yeah,
that's a big test.
Good thought.
And then, but a lot of times it's like, especially on the road for comedy, it's like the same old places. Like you just, you go to the Chipotle and then you go to the fucking, I don't know. I was going to say Borders, but I'm 1,000.
Oh, sir, what? What
y'all go to the Borders, peruse the CDs. You get a couple CDs at Borders.
Floppy disk.
Every time I go on a trip too, I'm always like, I always forget something or whatever. I got real bad ADD, and I always forget something.
What's the worst thing you've ever forgot?
I always forget socks or underwear. Phone chargers. Yeah. I have like 8 million phone chargers because I always forget. And then I'm so much better at this, but I remember when I first started comedy, I'd be at a place and I'd be like, hey man, there's fucking nobody here. And they're like, you went to the wrong club. And I'm like, all right, well, that's fine. And then I'm like, nobody told me. And then I look at my phone and it's like, do not forget, it's at Club A. And I'm like, yeah, no one told me. I don't know, my phone's being weird.
Oh my God, that's amazing. So you just have travel disasters in general.
I stay a lot. I wish I was more successful at comedy, so I wouldn't have to stay at the worst hotels ever. I stayed in one recently where the other comic I was with, she was going to stay with her girlfriend's family, and she just happened to walk up in my room. I think she was going to use my bathroom or something, and we just opened the door, and she just went, "You can't stay here." It was the
she
worst.
Felt sorry for
she's
you.
It was the worst hotel that I've ever.
Was it like a motel, or was it like an Econo Lodge?
I think it was a Motel 6, and it was just like. I was just like, I don't even know if I could have done it. I was like,
how does that work?
Man.
Do they book it for you? And they're like, here's where you stay.
It's always like in comedy, you just get these emails like, we're so sorry, but there's a thing in town and every hotel's taken.
The La Quinta was booked.
Yeah. So it was just the worst. And I didn't stay there. But like, I remember one time I stayed at this real shitty hotel in southern Indiana, and I opened the door and there was no lampshade on the lamp, and I called the downstairs, and I go,
a bare bulb.
I go, hey, there's no lampshade on the lamp, and the guy goes, is that a problem? And I was like, I guess not. And he's like, cool, and then hung up the phone.
Oh my God. You're like,
all right.
Forget I even asked.
Yeah.
I used to be a housekeeper at a Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm not all boats and bougie, okay? I was a housekeeper at a bed and breakfast on a ranch in...
Oh, you just qualified with a bed and breakfast.
Oh,
It's like, I'm picturing Mary Kate working at like a Holiday Inn. Like, what's going on? It's like, yeah.
It was like paradise. It was a bed and breakfast on a ranch in Colorado.
Sure, on top of a mountain. You see these.
Yeah.
You see these beautiful A-frames on Instagram.
Paradise.
Right. It's one of those pools that go to the thing and then
Infinity
people have died in those, right?
Have
people
they?
died in infinity pools.
Oh my God.
They've had to have died in infinity pools.
Jesus.
My idiot friends and I would do like wrestling, like Royal Rumble eliminations, because we have a thing where whenever there's a couch that's not like a kind of like a sitcom, how they have like the couch with nothing behind it, like not the wall.
Yeah.
And whenever anybody, when we lived together, would walk by, if they weren't paying attention, you would clothesline them over the couch.
That's amazing.
Until one time we did it, and one of my friend's foot went through the coffee table, so then we had to cancel that. But that's something my dumb friends would do. They would somebody would get thrown off the infinity pool or something like that.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Anyway, you're a blue collar gal.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. So you got your hair up. You're trying to make enough money to get out of Colorado to get home.
I had a whole uniform.
I will be very honest. This sounds like a Lifetime Christmas movie. And you were like a high-powered executive in Chicago.
Yes.
And then they're like, oh, you got to go home and help your parents bed and breakfast.
Yeah.
And then you're there and you're just like, oh, I have to, find the next big writer. And then it just so happens that the guy who chops wood for that place.
Ooh, yes.
Who's a fucking handsome guy.
His name was...
He was probably on the 90210 reboot. I'm not sure. And at first, you guys hate each other. Oh, you hate him. The sound of him cutting wood drives you crazy. But then one night, the heat goes off in your room, and then he brings some wood, and then this is what's wild.
It gets too hot.
Hardcore sexy. Like hard. Like they are like, listen, we can't show this, but if you go on, they have their own category on Pornhub, which is weird. Like you can go on that and just see what happens. Anyway, it's called something like, I don't know, a dumb name. Yeah.
Wow.
It would have a dumb name. If I was a better comic, I would be like, it's called this. And then I'll just say, we'll put it in post. It's called, and then everybody goes crazy. All right. Guys, I don't know. I'm just workshopping up here.
We'll edit it and sleep on it. Yeah, let it noodle around. But I was a housekeeper at this like high-end ranch, and like we were, oh God, I sound like such a dick. But like even as a housekeeper at this place where it was supposed to be like nice and like had everything, we like were disgusting housekeepers. Like I would take the towel that I like would wipe the toilet with and like clean their tumblers and like their glasses and like
that's just mean.
There were like some dick guests that I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try on your clothes now. Like it's like it's very real. Like don't trust anybody. Like even I bet the housekeeping service was better at the Motel 6.
One time I stood up in a wedding and we had custom. We had to buy custom Chuck Taylors.
Oh God!
And I left them in the hotel. I'm like, they can just have it. And the hotel called and they're like, you left your shoes here. And I'm like, honestly, you could just have them.
Yeah.
And the guy was like, thank you so much.
That was a perk of housekeeping, is that like if guests left stuff, you just steal shit. Yeah, it was the best.
Dad used to. When I grew up, my dad had a dry cleaning supply warehouse. That was what he did, and that's like I worked there growing up and stuff. And I remember one of his dry cleaners, the daughter was just like using the whole place as her like personal closet. She would like wear stuff and then just like bring it back. And
God, that's genius.
It was like a Seinfeld episode. Yeah, like somebody was like, your daughter was wearing my wife's dress.
Yes, that is a Seinfeld episode. We're like, is that my coat?
But one time I stayed at a fancy hotel. And they would give you those chocolates. And I was just oh, cool, chocolates. And I just kept eating them. They were like, go to sleep chocolates. They would make you like sleepy time. And I didn't know the whole time. And I was like, I'm fucking tired, man. Yeah. And
you like take it when you wake up.
Melatonin chocolates. And I was falling asleep.
That's amazing. So I want to hear like juicy shit. Like, I feel like we're just touching the surface of like your travel disasters. Did you prepare for this? Jesus, Marty. I sent you an email.
Well,
one time,
I've been on like the real bad flights where it was fun one time. This is fun.
Okay,
I was
here we
very
go.
suicidal. And I was flying home back to Chicago. And I was like, oh, man, life. And then the plane started like almost crashing a couple times.
Oh, my God.
And we had to stop.
What does that mean? Elaborate.
It was on Virgin where you can like see your flight on the TV thing. And I was like, oh, I'll see what we're doing. And we were like going toward Chicago. And then all of a sudden we started doing this thing. And I'm like, oh, this thing is weird. And then I was like, that'd be funny if we.
Broken?
Yeah. I was like, that'd be funny if we just were like, we got to go somewhere else. And then right away, the guy was like, we're going to land in Peoria.
Oh, my God.
I was like, oh, shit. And it was thundering
out. Was it something? Oh, it was weather. It wasn't like something wrong with the plane.
It was so wild. No, but we couldn't get past this certain thing, so we were out of gas, so we had to like land.
Oh,
and
wow.
then it was like it kept dropping, and then I was like, oh my God. And this couple was holding hands, and I just wanted to be like, can I please get in on that? Like I just want to hold hands with you.
I just want to feel close to you.
And then I remember we landed, and I was like, yeah, maybe I don't want to die. Like, I think I'll live a little bit more. So,
oh my God.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Living's pretty cool. I can do that.
Yeah, the universe was like testing you.
Yeah. I think so.
That's
but I find myself now more being like, I'm so hyper aware of like, I feel like a hall monitor on the planes. Like if anybody has like their feet up, like their bare feet, I just want to be like,
that's like my biggest pet peeve. Yeah.
Don't do
like,
that.
Get the fuck out of here with your bare ass feet.
I'm sure everybody talks about like elbow rest, like the politics of elbow rest.
I think the person in the middle seat of an airplane should have access to both armrests.
That's fine.
Like that's your right as the middle. Like you guys get fucked as the middle seater.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
absolutely
insane.
And I always have these huge plans for when I travel. Like I'm gonna write a bunch on the plane or read a bunch on the plane.
No,
and it never works. I always just end up getting re-downloading Candy Crush and then playing it from the beginning, which I feel real smart. And then it gets to that point where I'm like, I'm out. I'm done. I can't play anymore Candy Crush.
Oh my God.
And then I'm out. There's other games too. I get like a pool game that I always play. I'm always like, I'm going to read this book. And most times I leave the book on the plane. And
but people that read books on planes like think that they're better than everyone else. I'm like not a fan. I'm like, I'm going to watch Molly's Game for the 4th time.
Or I cry.
That's always like the airplane movie. I
watched one movie and I fucking cried so hard on the flight. And I was just like, I don't know these people.
Was everybody watching it, or was it like on your personal?
No, it's like a Virgin flight where you could pick get your own TV or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I don't fucking know these people. I'm just gonna fucking. And I was like, because at first I was doing the like, and then I was like fucking crying, and like the lady was like, "Can I get you something?" And I was like, "Yeah, can I get another beer?" And I was just like, tears down my face and everything.
What movie was it?
Fuck, I can't remember
Marty,
what it was. I will remember by the end of this podcast. I will remember by the end. But yeah,
we'll add it back in. Should we?
Yeah.
It was
the Lifetime movie. It was that hardcore sex scene. I was like, I'm so lonely. I'm so fucking lonely right now.
Oh my God. Oh, that's amazing. Well, do you have any trips coming up? Like what's next for Marty DeRosa?
Yeah, I'm going to Charlotte, North Carolina, which you mentioned.
No fucking way.
Yeah.
I hope you get trapped there like I was. I said, I hope you get trapped there.
I would love to be trapped there.
Are you going for shows or just personal?
We're doing a internet pay-per-view called $5 Wrestling. Jeff Hart's going to take on the bad boy Joey Janela in the main event. And this is big.
No idea what you're talking about.
It's really bad. It's awesome.
I bet, yeah.
But no, my friends have a wrestling warehouse that they sell a bunch of wrestling stuff. And we're going to put on this show. And it's going to be great.
Nice.
I look forward to it. And
where can people find it?
highspotswrestlingnetwork.com.
There you go.
And then and then shows and stuff like that. But you don't have to go to any of those shows. I would be mortified if you people showed up to the places on the road where I have to do comedy. I would be like, oh no. That's what I think. Like there's certain places where like people we know do comedy there. And I would spend like upwards of $10 a month to have a live feed of that club and watch people I know doing comedy at these places. Like it would be if they put a fucking camera in there and they're like, we go live every Saturday and Sunday. I'd be like, I'll fucking watch. Like, I want to see. I want to see motherfucker A do this comedy club. It would be my pleasure to see that.
My pleasure. Well, it was a pleasure having you on the live recording. I mean, you were fine. Yeah. It was fine.
I mean,
no, you were absolutely amazing. You're You're so lovable. I'm so glad that you were on the show. Everyone, give it up for Marty DeRosa. This was awesome. And thank you guys so much for coming out.
Give it all for Mary Kate Beck and Marty DeRosa.